and I created a recruiting system so that I can try to find adaptable personalities to the jobs I was filling so that I would have less turnover. DISC, I'm saying, was rocket fuel on my business. It's rocket fuel on my life. We went so far, I trained salespeople on DISC so they can understand their customers, my leadership team. We would actually line up the right personality profile installer with the customer to make sure we would get the job done as clean as possible. Like, DISC is incredible if you guys are willing to take that journey. Over the years, 12 years on DISC, I got DISC certified. I read 30 books a year on Audible, workshops, places like this, listening to mentors, trial and error, et cetera, et cetera. So that kind of brought me where we are right now. I love this Bruce Lee quote. Through all my years of experience, I absorbed what was useful, and in events like this, there's a lot of useful information. I discard what is not, and I add what's uniquely my own, and then out comes a predictable system. And we did that for every part of our business. Today, we're going to talk about the Alpha recruiting system. In a nutshell, this is my 8 steps to do that. I systemized everything in my business. To me, Alpha is not previous experience, it's an attitude, right? It's a top producer. It's someone who's aligned with what we're trying to accomplish. So high turnover results a lot from 3 factors. Lack of a structured hiring process. Again, when you keep people that don't perform, underachievers, a lot of times we keep them too long because we don't have the confidence subconsciously we can find somebody better. And we always say, oh, I know they gotta go, but when I find someone better, then I will. But here's the thing, you're not gonna prioritize finding someone better until they're gone. Number 2 is hiring individuals with low adaptability, and number 3 is misaligned DNA or core values. What are your core values? We had 4. Was humble, honeable, honest, and hungry. Those are the 4. I got those from my friend Bob Quillen. Those were the 4 that helped us transform and create our culture. And we were able to interview people and hire and train, and our culture was based on that. So addressing these factors is essential to reducing turnover. Now, hiring somebody that can do the job. Imagine you have a basketball team, right? Your sales team is this basketball team, and your star center, 7'2", breaks his leg. No matter how desperate you are, is it going to make sense to put this guy in under the basket to get the rebounds and dunk the ball and play defense? You're setting everybody up to fail if you do that. Now, I will bite the crap out of people's ankles. I'll, maybe some low blow. I mean, I'll do what it takes because I'm, hungry. I'm competitive, but there's only so much I'm going to be able to do. So that's where hiring the right person comes into play. Now, why I call this a recruiting filtration system is I always start by profiling the right person. I'm going to talk about sales specifically, but you can do this with any department. Number 1, I want a profile of all the different personalities that are out there. Imagine if you can put them through a filter and out the other side came the right person for the job. You have to be competitive if you're an in-home salesperson. I am naturally competitive. You don't have to train me. Right? My personality is such that I'm not into long relationships. I loved that I can go in 3 hours and it's either yes or no and I can move on. I love that part. I was natural for it. So we want to find those that adaptability. So to identify the perfect personality for a job, I would start by listing exactly what the job entails. Okay, so shorter selling cycles or a one-call close, less time to establish relationships. In real estate, you can get to know somebody for weeks and months. Home improvements, you can't, but if you don't establish that relationship, you're not going to close. Meet with more prospects, so there's going to be a lot more rejection, right? 30% close, which I think is average, means 70% rejection, but there's a huge income opportunity. So for that, which natural traits do I need for that position? This is something that I hung in every department in my business because it helped us communicate with each other. But very quickly for sales, I know I need somebody who's an active extrovert, who's not afraid to talk to people. And I know I need somebody who's task focused. What does that mean? If you look at, we don't have time to go through each one of those in the top left red, but we're looking at people who are problem solvers. Dominant personalities are natural problem solvers. That's why they have an answer for everything when someone can't buy. They're results oriented. They measure themselves on results and success. So they don't have enough room in their head for you sometimes. But that's how they are naturally, right? They want to be in control. So it's very good when somebody fights to do the needs assessment. They're very good when somebody gives resistance at the front door. They're decisive and convincing, and they're risk takers, the type of people who might take a commission job. Right? Now, we also need to soften that up. I need people who are people-focused as well, because too much of that might end up being a bulldozer. So, high I's are talkative, sociable, and charming. They're adaptable, they're easygoing, they're creative, they're persuasive, they're spontaneous. So that what will happen is where the D is going to want to get to the end and go to close the sale, the I is actually going to enjoy the time to get to know people and enjoy the process a little bit more. So that's who I'm looking for. Here's the problem, and this is why it's so difficult to find people to sell home improvements, because dominants are only 3% of the population and influence is only 11%. That's why it's so difficult. So when you finally have one sitting in front of you, we talked about that earlier, oh, I hope this person takes the job, and then they don't, it's going to be a long way potentially before you can find that other one, so we can't waste it.